when we were standing backstage coming out, we all had butterflies.
It was one of the most extraordinary things, seeing him completely disappear, like spooky.
Been scared to go deep and intense and raw until now.
He's kind of like pudding underneath this. He's like...
Pudding. That's my nickname.
Pudding.
On weekends is Pudding. In Venice.
Some of us know him as The Rock, others know him as Dwayne Johnson, but most of us know him as one of the coolest men in Hollywood. Dwayne Johnson is at Venice Film Festival. This is the first time he's been at any film festival in his entire career. He's there to premiere his new movie with Benny Safdie and co-starring alongside bestie and collaborator Emily Blunt.
I had been very fortunate to have the career that I've had over the years and make the films that I've made. But there was just voice inside of me, the little voice that, well, what if I could do more, and I want to do more, and what does that look like? And from the beginning, from the time we worked on Jungle Cruise together, she really encouraged and believed in me and said, there's a place that you can put all the stuff that you have gone through as a kid, and I'm very close with Emily and shared a lot of everything that I've gone through, and she goes, and that place is what you love to do, which is acting. And you have me, let's do this together. And then Benny was on the other side of that saying, hey, I got you both, and let's go for it. So that transformation could not have happened without, my best friend being there to support and encourage and just say, you can do it, and also I got you.
Before we hear more from Dwayne, also Emily and Benny Safdie, I want to put some context behind Dwayne Johnson and this movie and what it means to him. I spoke to him a few months ago during the Moana premiere in the UK, and he spoke to me a little bit about how much he's been itching, just wanting to be able to do serious acting and give himself that opportunity that he wants so badly.
Yeah, when I first started in Hollywood, I was told, you're too big, you shouldn't talk about wrestling, don't call yourself The Rock. Don't go to the gym, you have to look like this, don't do that. Like there was, and you buy into it if you don't know. And I did for a little while until I said, no, I'm not gonna do that. Well, I used a couple of curse words to say it first, but I was like, fuck this. And so that helped change the trajectory of me. So now what I'd like to do is, I wanna make sure, and by the way, you mentioned Emily, so her and I had this conversation. And before we did Smashing Machine of A24, like we made this promise, which is, hey, we got to make sure that we've reached this stage and place in our lives where anything we do, we really want to make sure that we're waking up and running towards that thing. Got to run to it. And if you're not running towards it, then you shouldn't do it.
Dwayne Johnson takes on his most dramatic role yet in Benny Safdie's wrestling biopic. It's called The Smashing Machine, and it's all about UFC champion Mark Kerr. This is an intensity that you've never, ever seen from Dwayne before. At the Venice Film Festival press conference, Dwayne was candid. This wasn't just another project. It was a long-held ambition for him.
When you're in Hollywood, as we all know, and it had become about box office, and you chase the box office. And the box office in our business that we know is very loud, and it can be very resounding, and it could push you into a category and into a corner. And this is your lane, and this is what you do, and this is what people want you to be, and this is what Hollywood wants you to be. And I understood that. And I made those movies, and I liked them, and they were fun, and some were really good and did well, and some not so good. But I think what I did realize is that the most important thing, I just had this burning desire and this just voice that was saying, well, again, what if? But what if there is more, and what if I can? And a lot of times it's harder for us to, or at least for me, sometimes to know what you're capable of when you've been pigeonholed into something. It's harder to know, wait, can I do that? I feel like I can. It's harder to know that, to know what you're capable of, and sometimes it takes people who you love and you respect, like Emily and Benny, to say, you can, and this is it, and then let's go create this thing, and let's go create that other thing. So I don't think it's anything to prove to Hollywood as much as it's just for me now. And the truth is, I looked around a few years ago and I started to think, I shared this with these guys, is that, am I living my dream or am I living other people's dreams? And, you come to that recognition, and I think you could either fall in line and, well, it's status quo, things are good, I don't want to rock the boat, or go, no, I want to live my dreams now and do what I want to do and tap into the stuff that I want to tap into, and have a place finally to put all this stuff that I've experienced in the past that I've shied away from. I've been scared to go deep and intense and raw.
I remember when he walked in as Mark for the first time, like changed the air in the room. It was like everyone parted. Everyone went very quiet. I'm sure that sucked for you, but it was it was really extraordinary.
Dwayne spoke openly about how Hollywood had boxed him up into chasing box office success, but inside he felt a pull towards something deeper.
I loved wrestling, and I had such a great time being a wrestler in that performative aspect. But it's also very bombastic, and it's very over the top, and it's very broadcasty, and so the crowds were great. I love connecting with the crowds, but also what was interesting is back then, when I was wrestling, especially in the late '90s, that's when I met Mark Kerr for the first time, and he was this hero to all of us, who was this man who, especially as a heavyweight, he was so dominant. And I remember talking to Mark back then and being just so enamored and out of respect for his career, and it's so wild how here we are years later and how life can come in full circle in this incredible way.
This movie was never about the guy with his fist in the air. It was about the fallout afterwards and how they were cracked apart by having to maintain that image that is unrealistic for anyone, no matter your size, no matter your strength. And I think Benny was really interested in that how can we empathize with someone who appears to be so invincible, but is tender on the inside, struggles, is in pain, but has to keep this front up. It's an aching movie in that way.
Emily, in this relationship, how she was able just to bring out the just raw humanity of Dawn, who she got to know very well and has become friends with. But also, just from my vantage point, we've talked about this, I saw this. Like I saw my dad, if you guys don't know, I come from a line of professional wrestlers. And my dad was a pro wrestler before the big wrestling boom. And I know what it's like to watch the woman that he loves, watch the man that she's committed to, fall in line and sacrifice her own life and her dreams for Mark's and for my dad's. And that's what Emily represents in this too as well. And you don't hear that a lot. You don't see that a lot about the wives and the girlfriends or the husbands and the loved ones. And I thought Emily just did a beautiful, brilliant job.
Dwayne Johnson talking about the brand new movie, The Smashing Machine, with his co-star Emily Blunt and director Benny Safdie. This film is not just another big, massive, action-packed movie. Dwayne isn't just expanding his repertoire, he's redefining it, and I cannot wait to watch it. Let me know what your thoughts are. Leave a comment. Make sure you subscribe and turn your notifications on, and I'll be back soon with more videos.
I don't think my dad was an inspiration in terms of his tenderness. It wasn't really my dad. He was homeless by the time he was 13, so his capacity for love was very limited, and that's the man that raised me. It's tough love, but I think what Mark lived with for a very long time, and I think in some ways, it's why he's beautiful. He works his way through this stuff. There's also a tremendous amount of shame involved, and I think, and I think that's what my dad lived with for a long time. I think, and then my dad suddenly passed away a few years ago, 2020. So I think that he was a man who struggled, my dad, but also the part that inspired me playing Mark Kerr wasn't the shame part, because we all deal with that. It was more, I'm hungry for something and I want to go after it, and I believe in this thing and I'm going to put in the work to get it done and to do it with my own two hands. That's what Mark Kerr does, and that's what my dad did.